بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف خلق المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا إنك رؤوف رحيم. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. So we continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Quran, the jewels of the Quran. We have reached Surah Al-Mujadala. Both are all right to use. The Mujadala is it refers to the companion, the woman companion of the Prophet ﷺ, who came and argued about, we will explain basically what happened between her and her husband, or what her husband really said and did. And the Mujadala itself is really the argumentation. And Imam Ghazali chose only one verse from this surah, verse number 7. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ألم تر أن الله يعلم ما في السماوات وما في الأرض ما يكون من نجوى ثلاثة إلا هو رابعهم ولا خمسة إلا هو سادسهم ولا أدنى من ذلك ولا أكثر إلا هو معهم أينما كانوا ثم ينبئهم بما عملوا يوم القيامة إن الله بكل شيء عليم. So do you not see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do you not see that Allah knows whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth? If three converse privately, He is their fourth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is their fourth. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is omniscient, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows every particular event in the universe. If five, He is their sixth. Whether fewer or more, He is with them wherever they may be. Then on the day of judgment, He will inform them what they have done. Surely Allah has perfect knowledge of all things. But the surah began with this lady, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listened to her plea. قد سمع الله قول التي تجادلك في زوجها وتشتكي إلى الله والله يسمع تحاوركما إن الله سميع بصير. Indeed, Allah has heard the argument of the woman who pleaded with you, meaning the Prophet ﷺ, concerning her husband, and appealed to Allah. Allah has heard your exchange. Surely Allah is all hearing, all seeing. First of all, before we speak about the divine response, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's response to this woman, it is her husband declaring her not only divorcing her, but it's a form of divorce that existed in pre-Islamic period, and it is worse than divorce because he declares his wife to be like his mother. Not that he lacks a mother figure. It's about no intimate relationship, that it would be he prohibits her to himself. This is a sinful kind of divorce. And this woman, apparently, she came to the Prophet ﷺ. She told him that her husband declared her as such. This is why the second verse, الَّذِينَ يُظَاهِرُونَ مِنْكُمْ مِنْ نِسَائِهِمْ مَا هُنَّ أُمَّهَاتُهُمْ. Those of you who divorce their wives by comparing them to their mothers, this sinful form of divorce, should know that their wives are in no way their mothers. None can be their mothers except those who gave birth to them. What they say is certainly detestable and false. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. الذين يظاهرون منكم من نسائهم ما هن أمهاتهم إن أمهاتهم إلا اللائي ولدنهم وإنه ليقول منكرا من القول وزورا وإن الله لعفو غفور. منكرا من القول وزورا. Detestable, unacceptable, rejected, and false. Yet Allah is truly ever pardoning, all forgiving. That if you mend your way, you correct your path, you do the right thing, you will find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving. Those who divorce their wives in this manner والذين يظاهرون من نسائهم ثم يعودون لما قالوا فتحرير رقبة من قبل أن يتماسا ذلكم توعظون به والله بما تعملون خبير. Those who divorce their wives in this manner then wish to retract what they said must free a slave. So a slave, you talk about emancipation, setting the slave free, liberating the slave, releasing the slave from bondage, manomit. This is the first option. And if not, if you don't have a slave to free, فتحرير رقبة من قبل أن يتماسا. If not, then they fasting 2 months in a row. But if the husband cannot afford this, let him then fast 2 consecutive months, literally 2 consecutive months. So if you, unless what the concessions for those who fast during Ramadan apply here, for example, somebody who gets sick, okay? So it applies here too. But if someone fails to fast for 2 months in a row, then he starts all over again. This is to make it really, to drive the message that they are not your mothers, to have a proper, respectful relationship with one's wife before the couple touch each other, before they have intimate relationship. But if he's unable to fast, then let him feed 60 poor people. This is to reaffirm, so one in exchange for every day. This is to reaffirm your faith in Allah and His Messenger. These are the limits set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hududullah. And the disbelievers will suffer a painful punishment. There was once someone in office, it seems that it was a story of a Khalifa who fell into this, he made this mistake, and he asked the jurists around him what should be his, how he should basically mend things, because we have three possibilities: setting a slave free, fasting 2 consecutive months, or feeding 60 needy people. Okay, the jurist told him feed 60 needy people, but one scholar said, well, this caliph or whoever was in office, he's feeding people, many people all the time, so that's not really the punishment, if you will. He should fast 2 months, and this would send the right message. Now, I'd like to go back to the very beginning of the surah, where it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who heard the argument of the woman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears listens to women. So if the woman movement, women's rights movement is to hear their voice and change their um, status, if you will, then here we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself listening and hearing the her plea. Uh, it's very important to realize this aspect. In fact, the very first story in the Quran, that of creating Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, entails also creating his spouse, Eve. She is not mentioned by name. The only woman to be mentioned by name in the Quran is Maryam alayhi salam, Mary, mother of Jesus Christ, peace upon him. That very first story liberates a woman from the burden of being singled out or being blamed for the fall because of the biblical narrative. There she eats first, the snake, Satan, she eats first, and then she introduces uh, the food to Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. And she has been blamed, and she's still being blamed in popular narrative based on that story in Genesis. That's in the Quran. The Quran uses the dual suffix pronoun without using the names. So both of them were warned. Both of them um were deceived by Satan. Both of them ate. Both of them were expelled from the garden. We will never know who ate first, if anyone of them ate first. That's that narrative does not exist in the Quran. Number two is that it is practically a shared responsibility, except that the Quran puts more weight, more responsibility on the shoulders of Adam alayhi salam, without saying that he ate first. The idea of the head of the family. Now, I know that some people might not. It became, not fashionable to speak about this, but we will say it nevertheless. Men who cease to play the role as men, a feminine version of them is really the most recent trend, and they don't take responsibility and they don't show up, and this led to the single parent phenomenon, which is predominantly it's a woman. It's the woman who, in general, has the children, and she bears the responsibility, and she has to play every single role. So they beating men on the head, and ultimately, this is the result that we have. Thereafter, we have before the verse that Imam Ghazali chose. On the day, meaning the day of judgment, day of resurrection, on the day Allah resurrects them all together, He will then inform them of what they have done. Allah has kept account of it, all what they have done or what they have said, while they have forgotten it. For Allah is a witness over all things. Then this is the you can relate number 7 that Imam Ghazali chose to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hearing the argument, the complaint, the plea of this woman, the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It does include knowing what people say in private, najwa, people when they whisper, whether it be whisper, but it's in private. You cannot keep things, whether you write down, whether you say, whether you use any type of symbolism to represent language. facial expressions, anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fully aware of what you are doing. And there's a prohibition of doing this, of these secret talks. And they go back and uh, what uh, they conspire in sin, aggression, disobedience, originally to the Messenger of Allah. Uh, when they when they see the Prophet, when they meet the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they greet him, uh, and they will question whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish them for what they say, for what they say. Hell is enough for them. حسبهم جهنم حسبهم جهنم يصلونها فبئس المصير. This so this particular chapter, this is the primary message. Also, it is meant to protect the integrity of the family, not to have really anything wrong, that you cannot have a wrong relationship between the spouses. You violate the law, and some people would keep their wives after they have divorced them, in a way that they should be no more with their husbands, and this form of declaring them like their mothers is extremely problematic. Now, we have said in the past that when we speak about slavery, Islam did not invent this, it existed. And what Islam brought was really the liberation of slaves. And this particular version here of setting, the first one being setting expiation, if you will, setting the a slave free. We have two possibilities in the Quran. Once it's really تحرير رقبة مؤمنة, is setting a slave who is a Muslim free. And the in the second case, it's تحرير رقبة, anyone, which opens the door for also setting free those who are not Muslims. So there are cases when one violates the law. The law freeing a slave is the answer. So what Islam brought the solution to this. And I remember, as far as going back to middle school, high school at the latest, our teacher of Islamic studies made sure that we understand that Islam as a way of life, as a worldview, intended this end of slavery, and this means also that we should not bring it back. Slavery also takes many forms, though people might still think of themselves as free, but they might be enslaved by the socio-political conditions that are imposed from without. This is essentially the story behind the woman. The rest is basically the ethics of the morality, the etiquette of how to address the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how to even when they get together, is to make room for each other. And if they were told to to rise, and then they should do so. Uh, and subhanallah, at the end of these directives, there's mention of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raising those who were gifted with knowledge in rank. يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات, which implies that if you have knowledge, then you will do these things, and you will not have najwa in a like a private talk, which is intended to hurt people. You could still have najwa if you are going to benefit the Muslim community, and you'd like to keep it private. Anyone who read Imam Ghazali's input on charity would realize that the best is to keep it private, not to make it public, though sometimes one might do that publicly to encourage others to do the same. There's a prohibition of allying oneself with people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with them, with these hypocrites. They lie. They know that they are lying, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared for them severe punishment. One's wealth and offspring will not prevent their punishment on the day of judgment. They are the people of hellfire eternally. They will, subhanallah, they will still attempt to swear, to take oath, they will still even attempt to lie on the day of judgment. And that's because Satan got a hold of them, causing them to forget really the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, they are the party of Satan, Hizb al-Shaytan. Surely Satan's party is bound to lose. They will be humiliated. And the opposite, of course, for the believers, and that's how this surah ends. They will enter paradise, gardens with rivers flowing. They will be eternally in these gardens. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be pleased with them. They will be pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are indeed the successful ones. ألا إن حزب الله هم المفلحون. Without, no pun is intended, of course not. So this is really Surah Al-Mujadila, and the next one is Surah Al-Hashr. Imam Ghazali chose 4 verses. Until then, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.